That was a great
Hello,
intro.
and welcome to the Social Recruiting Show, where we're clearly technically inept. It's taken us a while to come back, and apparently we've got a new button. So maybe now we're live. Hopefully somebody will let us know. I'm Katrina Collier. I speak, train, and write about the use of social media for recruitment. I'm, of course, joined by my gorgeous co-host, Audra Knight, who is an employer branding genius who should be in charge of the tech, I think. And, of course, a fantastic bass player. Today, we are super excited again to introduce, and maybe this time live, David Nicola, not
Yes.
Nicola, because I cannot say it the non-Australian way, who is a technical sourcer at Viasat. I can say Viasat. And I'm so sorry that you've just been through all that and we went live. So, Audra, go for it. Katrina is inept.
Well, we were just discussing how we got the chance to hang out and have some fun at the Social Recruiting Strategies Conference. And I just wanted, so we know everything about you, but I wanted for the audience, if you could just go over how you got into recruitment and your technical role at Viasat.
Okay, yeah, no problem. So I've been in staffing since 2010, pretty much. I'm starting off my local area and just kind of building out from there. I spent some time in higher education as well. In that time, though, I knew I always wanted to get back to staffing and recruiting, but more on a higher level. And so I was really kind of planning and strategizing how to do that. So I spent a whole year doing nothing but networking and just kind of really building up my network, getting to know people a little bit, and just kind of getting an understanding of the industry as far as what that looks like, and what exactly sourcing is and the differences and all that kind of stuff. So I spent a good year doing that. And then I put myself through the Sourcing Institute, through Shalley's program, which was awesome. And then from there, started my first role in agency and took off from there. So now I'm to a point where with Viasat, I've been with Viasat for over 6 months now, and it's going great. I love it. Essentially, they are satellite communications organization. Basically, they've been around for over 30 years. Basically, they provide a lot of broadband support to their customers. They do a lot of government contracting with the military, any other government bodies, to provide hardware support, software support, anything communications based. They're all over. So, but yeah, I have a great team. I'm excited. Our team is growing. So we just hired a few folks the last few weeks. So I'm very excited about that. So yeah, it's going great.
Oh, so I'm going to go off on a question that way then. So what do you find the hardest about recruiting your team? Are they sources or are they recruiters as well, actually?
We are changing models. So we are merging more towards a split model, which means we're building up an exclusive sourcing team that provides support for our recruiting team. So we have a team of, right now we've got, I think, five or six sourcers. Yeah. And we just are going to bring on, I think, one or two more coming up. So
what do you look for in them? Like when you're going through the interview process, what are you looking for in them?
In candidates
qualities that they have. Yeah, like, because for me, it's I find a lot of sources aren't inquisitive enough. I'm forever going on, but you need to be curious and want to dig and dig and dig and find out stuff. Like,
yeah, I think that's important. I think combining that with technology, of course, and being familiar with the landscape of what tools are out there. That's huge. But yeah, I mean, that's what it kind of boils down to, just really being just a research nut and really being able to do whatever it takes, really, within reason, right? To do your job well.
Within reason. I mean, I love that, because obviously we were all at SRC, weren't we? And everyone being like, oh, you can't look at Facebook. And I'm going, but it's public. It's like public information. What's the issue? I still don't get that. Whereas, as you say, within reason, I wouldn't want people doing anything particularly illegal.
Yeah, exactly.
At what point do you transfer people over to the recruiter? How does that work in your company?
Good question. Every stop I've been, that has taken a different form. It's a different process, different flow. So right now where we're at, we provide different, like a scope of services our sourcing team does to support our recruiting team. So right now, it just depends on what the recruiting team is or what they need, really, as far as what kind of support they're looking for. Are they looking for us to do name generation? Are they looking for us to do the first screen, or like the first cold contact, the first screen, and going from there? So I've been in orgs where, for me as a sourcer, I was holding the hand of a candidate all the way up to the onsite, which I have issues with, but I played along. But now, as opposed to now, where we're just doing either name gen, we're doing cold outreach, we're doing first screens if needed, kind of helping the recruiters however best to get the candidate going, get the flow started, and pick it up from there. So usually, traditionally for us, if there's a first screen that we do a short, preliminary assessment, after that we forward them on.
Got it.
So when you say you weren't comfortable with that, is that because you know your skills and you know where they're best used, and you felt that you should be passing them over for someone to?
Well, not really. I think for me,
Right.
the issue I had with that is that for me, holding the hand of candidates until they came to the on-site was more of a case management function, and
Right.
it was just taking up a lot of my time. I mean, I was like doing RC functions that sourcers I don't think really should need to do. Is coordinating and scheduling, second, third phone interviews and then on-sites. I'm like, I don't have time for that. So
Is RC a recruitment coordinator?
part of it is, I mean, you have to be adaptable.
No, I didn't know what the initials meant.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, RC. It's like a new one on me. Yeah.
Yeah.
It might be an RA here.
But yeah, so it is what it is. And so, but at the time, I can't fault him because we were such a small startup that our team was super small, so everybody had to dig in and do things maybe they normally wouldn't do. So
I love doing the whole way. Back when I did it, not now. Now I like teaching it, but I love that whole process of going through. But I do think it's different skills as well.
Yeah,
So-
I think so. But it reminded me of because I came from a case management and social services background in my whole work life. So for me, it was like, great, I'm doing sourcing, I'm doing screening, and I'm doing case management, holding hands for all these candidates that I'm not touching anymore. I don't have any contact with anymore, but I still got to balance those duties.
Yeah. And I think Mark is absolutely right. It is very time consuming.
Yeah.
It's very true. But it's great if you've actually got a team. if you've got that luxury to do that. What do you see as the biggest change that's happened sort of in the last few years as far as from a sourcing perspective and getting hold of people or getting them, I don't know, because we were talking about messaging and stuff as well. So.
Yeah. Well, I think the easy answer to that would be tools and all the new gadgets and toys that are out there. But that's the go-to. But I think for me, it really comes down to also to just having that human engagement, trying to, increase your response rates, trying to, come across less spammy, more human, and really be
Is that why you
effective.
put your tie on today, so you look really human?
Yeah, right, exactly.
Isn't he looking hot? Just for us.
Well, I was telling.
I'm like fading into the dark here. I don't know what's going on, but you look fantastic in the tie.
Well, I was telling Katrina that hey, I'm doing two things. One, it's the first time your guys' show is back in a while, right?
Yeah.
And two, for people who know me, this is going to come as a total shock because I don't wear a tie. So I figure why not do something totally no one ever expects and show up in a tie. So there you go.
No, I know we have been really bad, but I think this technology is seriously cool. Now we've worked it out late. Sorry, guys. Thank you for bearing with us. Christopher Kurtz has written your red short.
Chris, I totally am. I totally am. Yes.
Hang on, we need a donation to charity if you stand up, though. $50 to charity?
No, you don't. No, you don't want to see me down below. No.
So what are you talking about at SourceCon?
I'm talking.
I don't even know. I should know that so bad.
I'm talking about more beginner level, entry level tools for sourcers. So there's some I'm covering that I'm sure people will have heard of before, but maybe a few I'm throwing in there that maybe a little more niche that people haven't heard of before. So it's really the audience for my session is really aimed more towards either first timers at SourceCon or maybe new to the industry the last few years or whatever. So that's kind of my target folks.
That's so cool.
What's your absolute favorite tool if you had to pick one? Evil question,
Yeah, that's tough. Well, I'll tell you what, I have a few. I'll give you two. One's paid, one's free. On the paid side, I love Hiring Solved. I've been using it for a long time. I really dig it. On the free side, I really like HireTool. Even on the free side, you can access a lot of cool functions. Even though it's a freemium, right? You get a certain kind of free services on the side, then you pay for more. But yeah, those are my top two. I think if I had to be put on the spot. Yeah.
What is it about them specifically? I mean, is it, I sort of, and I've been a bit vocal about this, every time somebody posts in one of the sourcing groups, what tool can I use to find an email address? I kind of die a death slowly.
I know.
Is it that, or is it that they show you more information, or is it really just that they show email addresses and then I'll just shoot you in 2 weeks' time?
Well, here's the thing. I mean, I think because, okay, first of all, in my opinion, from what I've seen, there's no magical one-size-fits-all silver bullet that's going to do everything for everybody all the time. It just doesn't happen. So for me, it's about mixing different things together to get up what I'm looking for. Like for emails, for example, just because Hiring Solved or HireTool tells me that this is the email and maybe give me 1 or 2 emails doesn't mean that it's always valid or current. So I'm always testing. I'm always running those verifiers just to double check and make sure. So that's, to me, that's huge. And when people say what can I use to find emails? Look,
please spot Stacey's tie thing with the shock face. Exactly. I mean, you're right. It's only a starting point. It's just having the email address isn't on enough.
Especially if it's a spammy message.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I kind of roll my eyes a little bit, but at the same time, to flip on the other side of the coin, I know what that's like. I know what it's like to start out and just to kind of, getting a grasp of what's out there as far as tools and functions and how I could use it, to my advantage. Not every tool is going to work for me, and I'm not going to use every tool for everything I'm doing either, for every task. So it's just like that. It's really up to that person to find out what they like and what works for them and gets them responses, and it's effective. Yeah,
I mean, I've noticed Rapportive started working way better again as well. So I love that for verifying the email addresses, and it seemed to have died a death for a while. Then I finally reinstalled it and went, wow, it's really good. I use a lot. It goes so fast. My favorites disappear on me. It's like, no, come back.
Speaking of Stacey, I mean, I remember to this day, she said at Talent 42 a few years ago that it's always stuck with me. Tools come and go. What's here one day is going to be dead the next. So you can't put all your eggs in the tool basket because things always change. I mean, look at Candidate AI last month, a few months ago. That's a classic example. It was here. It was all right. I used it some, but it died.
Yeah. So. Actually, Jackie will love this. There are so many tools out there. It's easy to get confused. So in my keynote at SourceCon, I've actually got a picture of our not quite grand piano, which Richard can play a bit and I can't play at all. And it takes up 2/3 of the sitting room. Like, it's huge, this thing, right? And that's what, to me, this is like. All these recruiters have all of these tools and they don't necessarily know how to make magic with it. It's like, so that to me is where it's so important. But that's where that curiosity comes back in. So when you're originally recruiting, how do you find out if they're curious enough?
Well, and that's when, that's why it comes down to your messaging and making sure your messaging is as human as possible and as personalized as possible. But for me, it's like I want to make sure that that I'm not coming across robotic or spammy or anything like that. I'm trying to come across as like person to person. Look, you look like your skills look like this could be a fit for this role. By the way, I see you're still at this company. By the way, I see you like corn dogs. I like corn dogs too. Aren't they great? Yeah. It's just,
crazy stuff to look.
Just making connection is all it is.
Yeah.
Say that again, Audrey.
How long do you spend on average, when you're preparing like an email and you want it to be a good personalized one? Are you talking 10 minutes or an hour or?
No, probably, just whatever I can glean off the profile, whether it's a resume or LinkedIn or whatever. Because, some folks will go into detail about what they like and don't like. And so I would say maybe just a few minutes, really, just kind of just give it a once over and kind of really analyze it. And I don't spend an hour on a profile. I mean, I don't know.
Take long. I mean, you got like Connectify social links, for example, that you can just quickly go click. All right, I'm over on Twitter, I'm over on Facebook, I can see this. Right click, Google image search. Oh, look, I can see them somewhere else. Boom. Like, there's just so much stuff you can do so fast that there's no excuse. But when you think about you're looking for engineers, they're in high demand, they're not going to answer unless you've made some effort and throw something really random at them or come at them from a completely different site.
Exactly.
Okay, there's like 3,000 questions going on here.
Everyone's just getting blown away by the time.
They've gone past. There was a question I wanted to know that I wanted to share. And
Michael had a question. Michael has a question. Do you find recruiting or sourcing more important? Ooh, that's
I find what?
Recruiting or sourcing more important?
Oh, it's a great divisive question. Thank you for asking that. Yeah, set me up for that one. Look, okay, you put it out there. I'm going to go ahead and just be honest. I think you can't have recruiting without sourcing. I mean, and here's the thing too. I mean, that's if you're
have recruiting without sourcing.
Well, because that's if you're really doing like a split, if you're really separating the two functions separately, you can't have one without the other. I mean, if I'm sourcing, I can't look, my skill set is search, it's sourcing, it's not closing, it's not negotiating, it's not anything like that. So you can't have one without the other. So just like you can't have sourcing without recruiting, vice versa. You can't have recruiting without sourcing either.
You can if you just want to advertise and you just want to market and you want to just spray it out there and hope. You can. It just means you do a shit job and pay a lot.
But if you're relying on inbound, you're not going to last, in my opinion. I mean, you need to have that balance. That's my point.
Yeah. There are recruiters that just sit and wait in the ATS, and when they come in, they screen it. So, I mean, technically, they could do it that way. But
I mean,
I guess it depends on what the skill set, doesn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I think if your organization's big enough, you can rely on that more. But if you're more mid-size or smaller or startup, you gotta hit people up.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's interesting. She's not there. Jackie's there. Katrina's not there, I don't think. Oh yeah, she's on holidays, isn't she? Dublin or something. And I remember I started my first argument. They were talking about social recruiting doesn't work, and I'm going, because you're not talking about the sourcing. You're talking about the marketing, not the sourcing. It's like without it, and I guess it's the same with recruitment now. Unless you're high volume, they will come at you. But even in that area, they don't. I mean, I get lots of clients in retailers going, we can't go to staff because they're not getting the quality. So
exactly. And I think, to kind of overall, I mean, everything's intertwined. Everything mixes together. All the components, they work together, whether it's your EB, it's your, social recruiting, it's the recruiting side, it's the sourcing side. Yeah. Whatever it is, they all have to work together. So I think to kind of say which is better, one over the other, or which is, it's
right for you.
It doesn't really hold any water, but everything has to work together.
Should people start out as recruiters and move up to source or vice versa? Oh, Michael, you're throwing these tough questions out at us.
Come on. I mean,
so coming on the show, and we're going to get you back.
Okay.
Actually, I think they should start as a sourcer and move up, so they have the understanding of how hard it can be to find people. But that's just my opinion. What do you think, Dave?
No, I mean, here's the thing. It's totally subjective. There's no right or wrong. It's just personal opinion. I totally agree with you, but at the same time, it's like, look, if you're really wanting to get into this space, take whatever you can. Start out as a recruiting coordinator. Start out, however you can to get a foot in the door and just absorb and soak up as much info as you can to continually get better.
Yeah. And I guess it just comes down to some people will always be happier doing the digging and the researching and the not so customer facing than going and handling those hiring managers and the play as well.
Yeah, and like for me, I mean, I work okay with hiring managers, but I am not client facing, for example. I don't do anything with that, and I've got a couple of folks in my network who know me that well that will verify that and say, look, don't put David in front of a client. There's no filter sometimes, and he's gonna ruin our contract and he's gonna totally blow it. So let's not do there. And I'm all for it. I'm like, great, I'm with you. I'll stay in the basement and just find people and go from there.
But if that's what you enjoy. Yeah, why not? I hate that. I'd happily avoid the hiring manager though. I like doing the candidate bit and bringing them right through to onboard and then seeing them grow even. But just don't make me have to. Yeah.
I think you made
the hiring managers thing.
Different skill set that you don't need to. Maybe it's not good to swap over.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
Then I also think that comes back to knowing yourself as well as knowing as a manager of your team. Because so often particularly in the agency side, and I'm watching what John's writing there, where they're pushed up. And I was constantly being told, you should be a team leader. And I was constantly going, really don't want me to do that. It's like, I knew that about myself. I think that's hard, right? Some people don't.
Yeah, it is. Because especially if you're constantly being pushed in more leadership functions, but you're not cut out exactly maybe for that kind of leadership. You may be a leader, but not in that specific way. Yeah, it comes down to knowing yourself well enough and knowing what you can contribute. And I hate to use cliches, but what your value add is, right? So to contribute in the best way. And if that's not in a leadership role, then great. Maybe it's like more support, or it's, you know, assist or whatever. It's just going to be really kind of how best you feel you can contribute.
Pete Radoff talked about that. Remember, Katrina, how he likes to be an individual contributor, and that's that's what he likes to do, and he doesn't have any interest in management. So it would be terrible to, even though he's doing great, to move him up. It wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. I'm exactly the same.
I just read Animal's tweet. That was pretty funny.
Oh, I didn't see
what? Sorry, what's on Twitter?
Don't put Captain Curtis in front of a client. There's no filters sometimes. He's better off in the basement sourcing. I said, yeah. I'm like, yeah, totally.
Hey, this is the guy who just had an altercation on the street.
That's actually an actual accurate quote that Animal put out. So I appreciate that.
That's actually true.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're not quite like.
Have you been on his show, David?
I was on a show, I think, late last year. Me and Garrick Chan and Jose Watson were talking about job search and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. You survived it?
What's that?
You survived it?
I did. It was fun. It's all just a show.
Yeah. And Katrina, you were on it too. That's right.
Yeah, we got through it. I've never listened to it back though, so I have no idea how I did. Don't know. So many companies, John's going, right, researcher, then sourcer, then recruiter. Many companies, though, blur the lines, and they don't focus enough on training them. Absolutely.
Do many companies have researchers in HR or in TA?
No, that's often outsourced.
Well, John, if I'm
sources and recruiters.
of the right John, is that UK John?
Yeah.
Okay, so
yeah, he's agency.
And that's the thing
slightly
too.
Different.
Yeah, exactly. You know, formats are different, titles are different, functions are different, you know, globally. So
yeah. But the only thing I don't think is different is that I feel like there's this fight for attention. I know I've been going on about it for years, but I just feel it's got even more. That, you know, and we were going to talk about this messaging thing even more, because I just think, so actually that's true. How far is too far? As far as, you know, I always use that one, you've seen it, and of course I'm going to drag it out again, that brilliant one from Weston at Google. And you talk like a pirate and 9 cat costumes and the whole lot's in the messaging. And like people, right, but you can bristle in the room. It's hilarious. Hence I keep using it because it's just so funny watching the reaction.
Yeah. You can't be everything to all people. You can't be everything to all people as far as your messaging goes. I mean, you can't, you know, act like you know about surfing when you have no clue anything about it. Or but I mean, I can appreciate the effort to try and relate and try and make some connection, but if you're trying too hard, it's going to be steam right through.
So keep it real.
Just be human. Just be honest. Be human.
Really hurt your reputation.
Yeah, I mean, and because here's the kicker: it's no mystery why you're reaching out to them, and it's no mystery on them why you're contacting them. So instead of dancing around this, you know, hey, it's not, you know, let's get together and be friends. You know, there's a core. There's a core function of why you're being reached out to or why you're reaching out. Just be upfront with it.
Yeah, the same with vendors.
Yeah.
I get a lot of outreach from vendors. They just want to be my friends.
Yeah, it's quite interesting when you actually look and you add them into the mix and just the amount that we are hit up with. Like there's so much noise going on out there because they're hitting up our candidates as well. It's like, oh my God.
I often get 4 emails after I didn't respond to the first, second, and third. I get a 4th just in case you missed my last 3.
Actually, you know what? When I first started, I was sending 5 emails to people.
Yeah. And did it ever work? Did they answer?
At the 5th email, usually it was actually about the 4th email is when the anger started coming out. And when the 5th email hit, that's when that's when the name calling came out. So I'm like, look, but I did it because that's what I was told to do at first. I didn't. I'm like, all right. So now I'm like, look, I'm going to send you 3 emails tops. If I don't hear from you in 3 emails, then I'm moving on, obviously. So yeah.
But still, you're going back. You're not just leaving it at 1.
Exactly.
I mean, if it's anything like my inbox, I read the email because I have to have email like 0 all read, and then I flag it. Oh, I must go back to that tomorrow because I read it at 10 o'clock at night, and then I never go back to it. So you do need the 2nd and the 3rd, right? To just because it could genuinely offend you.
And you also, you know, you can send them at different times of the day and stuff. I remember a couple years ago, Johnny Campbell did a presentation about when when the most effective time is for messaging. And it turns out, I think it's between 6 and 8 a.m. or something like that. First thing in the morning when they wake up. Yeah. So, but trying different times of the day, trying the evening, right now that's possible because you can schedule your emails to go out whenever you want. So.
That's convenient. Yeah.
Yeah, which is cool, right?
I've heard Sunday nights is good because they're thinking about, I have to go back to work tomorrow. Have you heard that?
Say that again?
Sunday nights I heard is a good time because people are dreading going back to work on Monday, so they might, be more interested. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And
definitely a general rule in the air on a Sunday night.
Yeah. And Johnny's point too was about how, when you get that alert, you get that icon badge on your phone, you have to clear those red bubbles, right? You have to make sure to clear those notifications. So people are just, conditioned to do that.
But not only that, a lot of the time people have rolled over and picked up their alarm clock, otherwise known as their phone, and cleared it all off before they've even got out of bed. So if your email really stands out because you've made that extra effort with a really good subject line and a nice personalized email with no haze in it, then it's going to work well. Got to get that in there.
No, yeah, subject lines are huge. That's the first thing you look at. You have to have something catchy.
So do you ever send emails to work?
I have in my head, I have an order of how I send emails. It's personal. If I can find a personal email, that's my number one go-to without a doubt. Yeah. If I come across a work email, I'll consider it. If I really want to talk to them, and if they haven't responded yet on the personal email, then maybe I'll shoot them a work email. But if I do, I keep it very general, very vague, but referencing my earlier email for sure. And then the last step for me, if I can't get a hold of, like a last resort for me is like an in-mail. I never use in-mails.
Why would
I shouldn't say never. I don't use them very much, but if I do, it's like, look, I'm desperate. I'm just make one more last gasp here. Hopefully they check your in-mail. I don't know, but I'll try it and see.
Yeah. So with the ones that you send to the work, because I'm asked this question all the time, so I thought I'll ask you, seeing you're getting all the difficult questions. How do you get around using like the words like career opportunity, job opening, vacancy, like all the ones that would get filtered out by the IT department? Do you have magic? Can we steal David's?
I replace the words with other more, I don't know, common adjectives, adventure, exciting, a challenge. I get rid of opportunity. I get rid of job, career. You have to replace them with other things that aren't going to be trigger words for HR, or if like their email is monitored, you don't want to do that. So you got to kind of come up with some other alternative words that don't think of it in terms of recruiting. Think of it in terms of like an activity or like something that they're going to be looking forward to, something that they, will appreciate or want to learn more about. I don't know, I'd love to learn more about, I don't know, whatever, skydiving or something, right? So I'm going to frame it in a way that's adventurous or that's something new that's going to pique their interest. So
I like thinking about it as an opportunity for them, but that maybe is that word. But
that'll be one that'll get ruled out, I'm sure. I'm sure the IT department's thought of them all.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I stopped using the word opportunity just a long time ago because it was easy and cliched, and everyone's doing it. So
yeah.
Do most IT departments do that? I didn't even know that.
There are some out there that monitor emails. Those are the same orgs that also restrict, I don't know, Facebook at work or
breathing. Phones in the office. I kid you not. I trained a client. Strangely, she's left and moved on to another company, and they have to take their shoes off and put their shoes and their bags and their wallet, their phones and everything in lockers to go in because they're a trading system and somebody breached it once and that was it. But no shoes.
That's weird.
Okay, I know, right?
Wow.
They're giving slippers. Can you imagine trying to recruit for that company? Hi, come join us. You get to wear slippers every day. Really,
or what the retention, or what the retention rate is, because once you're there for a short period of time, I'm sure you're waiting to get out.
Actually, I must go look at Glassdoor to see what's been written on there. Must be really, really interesting.
Oh yeah.
John's got a good point too. For work, you did not mention them. You talk about their area of that specialization. Yeah, that's a good point. Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you have a favorite subject line then that you find works quite well? Not urgent PHP developer required. That's my favorite screenshot ever.
I mix it up. I make the subject line about them. I talk about, I kind of play to their ego. Your expertise can really help with this. I try and keep it short too. So, and if I want to get really cheesy, I'll say something like, I'll autofill their name in the subject line and say, name plus or equals awesomeness, or, something cheesy, but not like, I don't know, not like romantically lovey kind of thing. Like, we're your match made and all this blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So that's as cheesy as I get is, I'll throw in awesome, or I'll throw in something.
Oh my God, Martin, I love it. Martin Lee, bless him. Was he with you? Anyone else try to post-delivered letter, or is it just me? That's because we're the generation that remembers what that is, Martin. Requirement clean socks from our listeners.
Exactly, Alison. Yes.
Yeah, and actually, that's I do think that we should go back to that old school. Actually, post them something. We could post these on, couldn't we? Little robots. Yours is still sitting up behind you. I can see it.
Yes. Well, I remember the days too when when we were faxing our resumes in, or we were putting our resumes in the snail mail and stuff, and it was like, it's trippy to think about that we used to do that.
Yeah.
Hey, David, have you ever tried this kind of trick what I've heard of, where you put the RE colon and then a subject? Because I fall for that every time.
Yeah.
Oh no, it makes me cringe.
Yeah, I've tried that. I haven't gotten any negative response that's like, I don't understand why you're doing that kind of thing, but it's a nice trick. I sometimes use it. It's not my go-to, but if I'm, if I'm really wanting to hopefully get a response and try fishing in different ways, I'll use it. Sure. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I'm not saying I love it. I'm just saying it works for me.
Yeah. I mean,
every email I ever send Audra going forward, Ree.
Because like when people contact me, like not that I'm getting floods of requests or anything like that, but if I get hit on for a role,
anyone calling David, that's a hint.
Well, no. But if I get hit on for a role, sometimes they'll do that. Like, if a certain group will, if a certain recruiter will reach out to me and say, RE colon, whatever, this role or this role is for you or something like that. I admit I fell for it too and opened it. I'm like, did I apply back? Did I start something with them? What did I do? Yeah. I'm like, God,
the worst thing is,
again.
The worst thing is if you answer on your phone, you don't necessarily see the reply on the desktop. So sometimes mine don't show replied. So actually, I will have to go into my sent items, go looking. Did I reply?
Oh, wow.
What am I doing? Yeah, which I find really annoying. I don't know why. It should be all connected, but for some reason, mine's not. So
I think mine's like yours. It's annoying.
Yeah, it's very annoying. I love John. I send thank you notes to clients and candidates. Absolutely. The importance of the word thank you. I'm so with you on that.
Does he mean thing too? They've been interviewed?
What's that, Audra?
Does he mean like after they've been interviewed?
Do you mean after they've been interviewed, John?
Well, he's answering. I think real quick, like for me, like there's sometimes where if I get a reply back that, thank you, but no thank you, I'm not interested, or this isn't the right time, I'll just reply back and I'll look, thank you for taking the time to even check back in. Please keep us on your radar, for, future reference if you want to, come back around, and our door is always open, things like that. And so, and I leave it at that. So I kind of, it's a negative response, but, you just got to try and turn it around into a positive about anything happening down the road for them. So.
Yeah. How do you remember to keep in touch with them? Do you have like a CRM that you put them into, or do you just kind of?
I do it as it comes in. So if I get an email about someone, or like if a candidate emails me back saying that, thanks, but no thanks, I'll just do it right then. It's like just a quick 20 seconds. Hey, thanks for checking in, and I just shoot it off right then.
But I would like check in with them in 6 months and be like, so how about now?
Oh, yeah. Well, by then things have changed so much that usually the role isn't open or it's been filled, or I'm not even working that rec anymore. So you never know.
So for you, it's quite role focused, like each one, rather than.
Well, that's the thing.
Is that where? Do you have someone else that can keep your talent pool warm, or?
Yeah, I mean, for us, we're again going back to Viasat, we're changing our model where it's less rec based, more split model. So it's not so much because if you're a large organization and you're living from rec to rec, you're going to be underwater, in no time, and it's hard to come out of that hole, as opposed to a split model where it's more profile based and more future forward thinking in terms of pipeline building and things like that, and not living by the seat of your pants from rec to rec. Because Even when you're working a rec, the MQs can change. The hiring manager can decide, no, I want, 2 roles and 2 positions open instead of 4. So there's a lot of variables that happen there.
So that'll be good. So then you'll look at that a lot more. Tie it, love it.
I did it for you, Andrew. Andrew's like the most impeccable dresser. I admire that guy. That guy brings it like every day.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
Yeah, clearly has a dresser, or at least somebody cleaning shoes, which I still need. Need one of those. It's got to be done. It's very buzzy using this new platform, though.
Yeah, it's good.
The Facebook connection is like really cool. I haven't been over to Facebook to see what's going on there. I'm hoping we don't walk into a disaster when we get on.
Do you do, David? Do you do Facebook sourcing at all, or is that something you like or don't like?
I'm getting into it a little more, just because I'm seeing more people on it. Really, it's as far as name gen. That's for me. That's kind of what I'm leaning more towards. So, it's kind of cool how you can tinker with the different tools, and especially now, like even like with HireTroll, for example, you can source within Facebook also on their platform. So you can source within Facebook, GitHub, LinkedIn, and Google. So to use it within Facebook is pretty fun.
Yeah, and then of course there's just the natural Shane's tool, the customers tool. Yeah, which is really cool.
Easy and
I think Todd Davis has some great Facebook tools also for sourcing. So
yeah,
but I just love watching people be quite gobsmacked. But when I'm training, it's just too much fun because they're all like, "Oh, you can't find anything. Nobody fills out their bios." Okay, watch me. And like you just do the most high-level bio search, and they just go, ugh. And that's before you then get all the other ways to find people, and the creative ways via the groups and all that kind of stuff, or the interests. And obviously, Audrey, you'd know with the pay-per-click advertising behind the scenes, which is really cool. Yeah. Actually, have you played with the jobs tab yet?
Yeah, I'm not a fan at all.
Yeah.
It's only good basically if you don't have an ATS. In my early opinion, the applications are just coming in by email and they have very little information, and then I have to be the middleman to get them all to the different recruiters, and I have to message them back. It's complicated if you're a big company. I think if you don't have an ATS, it's potential it could be really great if you're small and fantastic.
But I think also that ability to do the targeted pay-per-click advertising from the job post you can't do because they're trying not to do discrimination, which I think is a bit of a shame. So you might as well organically share it with a link straight through to the ATS.
Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Facebook ads for sure. Those we do really well with. But the job posting, and it's funny because people are like, it's free. Why not use it? It's free, but nobody's going to see it unless you pay to make them see it. So it's not free at all.
That's how they get you. That's how they get you.
Use one of the free apps and just put a jobs tab that actually has a RSS feed of all your jobs.
But even then,
it's so much better.
Don't click on jobs tabs, I don't think.
Well, I guess it's the people that happen upon it. I mean, as we know, the Facebook page visibility is so low on purpose so that we can all use it for free because they make the money from marketing. So it's quite clever, really. Mm-hmm. So how do you go about, we kind of talked about this, but how do you go about keeping in touch with an active pipeline instead of contacting candidates just as needed for roles? So that is probably an Audrey question in a way because you don't have the setup there yet at Viasat. Is that right?
Well, you don't have a CRM?
We're working on it. I can't go into detail about it publicly, but we're addressing that need. Yes.
Do you need us to refer a friend then? You'll message us when you need us to refer a friend.
I think we're okay. So we're moving forward with something that's pretty cool. So yeah.
That's so cool.
That'll be really helpful for you, I think.
Yes.
Right now, what do you keep in Excel, or how do you keep?
Right now we have Brass Ring.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
It just sounds like it would be bad.
Yeah.
What were they thinking calling it that? I've got a dirty mind.
But if you
sorry.
But if you talk to a candidate and you get like their email and you have a conversation, but they don't want the job, can you put them into Brass Ring just to have them in the? No, they have to be. Okay, you can add them in, even though they're not an applicant.
You can add them in, yeah, but there's different. You have to make sure you add them under a specific label. So maybe if they're not a candidate, you have to add them in as a contact. So little things like that are just like, what? Just put them in. So,
yeah, you don't want to go to that rejection letter if they didn't apply. That's big no. Seen that happen.
So what's the system that you just installed though, Audra? Was that related?
That is a CRM. I don't know what you guys are going for, but we are adding Clinch.
And that's to keep in touch with the talent pool, though.
Yeah,
It's
to do email marketing, building landing pages. It has great job description landing pages, SEO. Also, it's a really cool tool. I'm excited. We're just starting the integration though, so I haven't just dived in and really played with it yet. I can't wait.
It's kind of cool, right? If you go back 5, 6, 7 years, we couldn't really do this. Now it's all like we can find people, we can pull them in, we can keep in touch with them, and it's very different world in such a short period of time.
Finally, I feel like ATSs are starting to catch up, but there's still a lot of room for improvement. Are you going to
these need to catch up?
Yeah.
You still can't apply on a mobile phone. Oh, fuck.
That's the thing too. I think, there's definitely not a same approach to sourcing you're taking with your internal systems. There's no magic ATS. There's no one size fits all that's going to meet every need of every organization. So like, for me, when I was at a startup, they used Greenhouse. I mean, not to plug Greenhouse, but as an example, and I loved Greenhouse. It was great. And there's also other, different VMS systems that I use too. But it just depends on what you can do. And I know a lot of organizations on the talent acquisition side don't have the budget maybe for a big, ATS or CRM, so they have to go with what they can do. Yeah,
that's for sure. All the money's in marketing and not in recruitment. But that's changing, I think. I think
now that particularly sourcing can prove their worth as well, and the cost saving, but therefore they're getting more funding. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, that's a really good question. So how often will you actually reach out to the silver medalists, even if there's no new role open?
That's a good question, John. I think for me, that it's not really as applicable to me because I'm not far enough down in the process to keep track of any silver medalists. That's more of a recruiter function. I don't keep track of, once they come out of our team and go into the recruiting side, it's going to be, it's up to them really to maintain that relationship for silver medalists. I think that's something though I think between silver medalists and employee referrals, those are the two areas I think that need to be tapped in more without a doubt. So for sure.
I saw a presentation on that yesterday. It was really cool. And they were calling it referential treatment, which I thought was a nice play on words. But what she was getting at was but there's that feeling of not that they just get hired because they're a referral, but just that clarity is there as well. So that because you're putting your reputation on the line to put that referral forward, and then they're not getting any clarity, and then that sort of thing, it all falls by the wayside. But it was quite interesting. They're developing quite an interesting platform. So I can't wait to get her on the show in due course. Some of the stats she was throwing at me, though, about developers specifically was quite shocking about how basically if it's not a friend that's talking about the job now, they barely answer because there's just so many jobs out there. Maybe that's a UK-centric thing more so, but interesting times ahead. But do you have a magic number you're planning to keep in touch with people with, Audra, with that? Or is it just generally
that's a good question.
Put them all and send out a great We're Fantastic newsletter once a month kind of thing?
No, my plan is to do really targeted email marketing, like maybe monthly, but to people that events we went to, they'll get one email with a photo that makes sense and really targeted relevant jobs. And university students, each one could get a different email that says, good luck with finals when that happens. And so I'm trying to be really targeted about it so it's relevant, and then they might actually click through and apply.
Alison McKay throwing a nice question at us here. Referrals sometimes don't equal diversity. Thoughts on that, or how to have those conversations? I have a really interesting comment on that, but I take that offline with you. I'll get myself in trouble.
Well, I think that you can't really control the diversity aspect when it comes to referrals. That's something that you don't have any say over, as opposed to if you're actually having more of a diversity targeted campaign. But as far as those kinds of conversations, for us, we have like a referral form that we ask our employee, is it okay if we tell your referral that you were the one referring them? Sometimes they want to be anonymous, and sometimes they don't care. So that's the first thing right there. And if they do, then great. And in that outreach, basically, look, you were referred to us by so-and-so. They think you've got what it takes to help improve our team, blah, 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 and go from there.
But I also think they're coming into the interview process. They're not getting hired. They're just an introduction. So therefore, they're up against other applicants as well. So I would hope that the correct person for the role got the job, no matter what.
Yeah,
But
but I
you know,
mean,
I know there's a bias. I know it for sure, because it was ingrained. But I'd hope that they're going through the same fair interview process.
I'm just gonna assume the best and think the same, that they are, that it's gonna be, everyone's gonna be treated equally. And I mean, I don't know, I'm not sure farther on down the process who is aware of a referral, or if it's noted on their profile that, hey, this came as a referral from so and so. Actually, I would think it would, probably only because the person making the referral probably wants that bonus. They probably want that, few extra bucks if they get hired. So I don't know, but it can be taken and twisted into a slant. Sure.
Yeah, but actually, I was just thinking the opposite in a way. If you've got flexible hours, or you're looking two people to do a job, so you're targeting return to workers or moms, if you want to be sexist and just go for the women, whatever it might be. Actually, if it's a referral program, it might be easier, because it would be people that you know in your network who are struggling to get back, perhaps because they've had a bit of time out, and then that's often easier to get a job that way than to go through an agency or a job board or whatever. I don't know. Throwing that out there.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough too. I think, when I've seen employers discriminate against those who are unemployed, who have maybe even more or a better skill set than those that they're targeting who are employed. So to me, and that was like a long time ago, I don't know if it's still happening as much now, but I remember thinking, man, that's just the most ridiculous thing. I mean, just because they've been out of work for 6 months doesn't mean that they're not keeping up their skill sets. It doesn't mean that they're not still somehow actively in their industry, or that they, it's just kind of silly.
Well, the worst thing that happens here is that they get sent to the job center. So say you've been out of work for 3 months, you go and sign on to get your, whatever it's called, dole, we call it in Australia, from the job center. And the job center will send you to a recruitment agency. But of course, the client only wants to pay the recruitment agency a fee for somebody who's working, not somebody who's perhaps had a gap. So that gap can go on and on and on and on, and suddenly they are at 2 years. Whereas, of course, if they approach directly, in my experience, they sort of circumvent that problem of the gap, because it can be explained. Whereas it's just, it's really broken system, unfortunately. So we're running out of time. It's been so fun.
Oh my gosh.
The guitar in the background before we end this.
Oh.
What kind of guitar is it? Fender?
That is a Fender Telecaster Squire from last year, and that I love. I love playing this thing. It's awesome. I'm not like, Jimi Hendrix or anything like that, but I just bang on it. I hit the strings and sound comes out, so I call that music.
Yeah.
So
it's not like the piano upstairs.
No, it's got all.
She'll get to see soon. It had to go in. It made sense. They're quite fun slides. I can't wait. Oh, no, you should be there, but you're sending the bearded one. Where's the bearded one today? He hasn't been here.
Yeah.
So we're actually on next week, right? We're actually doing 2 weeks running.
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, and then we're back to fortnightly. The other fortnight, that was all my fault. Who's on? I can't remember. I'm sorry. It's gone.
I think we already mentioned his name. Todd Davis is going to talk about. I think Facebook's maybe sourcing. We haven't discussed exactly the topic, but that's one thing he's really good at.
I will tune into that one.
Mm-hmm. And I think Lily at SourceCon too. I think so. The 3 of you can all connect there too.
Sweet.
Maybe we should do it the week after at SourceCon. That would be slightly mad. Relying on there. I'm on. There he is. Hey, he's on the Facebook live feed. So it did go live. Thank the Lord. The second time when Katrina thought to hit the button. Anyway, we'll know for next time. Thank you so much. Also for delaying, because I couldn't do last week. So why is Vader about to slay the SourceCon robot?
Yeah, exactly.
Because
he's gonna force choke him.
Be human. They're gonna. Anyway, on that crazy note, so I couldn't get on the smart time site. Oh goodness, that's something else I have to sort out by next time. But thank you for your patience and for everyone who stayed on when we screwed it up at the end. So
thanks for having me, guys. It was tons of fun, and looking forward to more shows. Yeah,
and I will see you in about 9 days.
I know, right? I'll see you guys at SourceCon.
Yeah, so excited.
That's gonna be great.
We'll make you green with Ember, we promise.
No tie at SourceCon though, just so you know. I don't plan on wearing a tie at SourceCon. I don't want to make everybody faint and freak out, so I'm not going to do that. I'll spare you guys that.
That'd be funny though. All right. Thanks again. Bye.
All right. See you guys. Bye.